So what do we have here? This is the tiny size of my hand, all metal, beautiful construction, LAIV Micro DAC. This is a R2R DAC, fully balanced. And as a matter of fact, it only has balanced outputs. It's quite a unique sound to it. I'm going to try to describe the sound, but under it, check this out. This is the Nagra HD DAC X. Now this is a retail $71,000 DAC, and I've been listening to this $1,000 DAC. I could get 71 of these for the price of one of these. These are not meant to be compared in any way, but heck, I have them here, right? Hey everyone, welcome back. I have a pretty cool product to talk about today. This is the LAIV Harmony Micro DAC. This is about the size of my hand. Now, last year, I think it was last year, I reviewed the LAIV Harmony, the full-size DAC from LAIV. And in that review, I talked about how it sounded alive, electric, reminded me a little bit of the crazy priced $15,000 or so Cord Dave. Not quite to that extent, but the original Harmony lit up my music room. It had excitement. It also had a live vibe, and I wondered, is that how they chose the name LAIV? L-A-I-V, you say it live. Well, today, none of that matters, because today I have this Micro DAC. It comes in at $1,000 US. It's built to a crazy high level standard. The sound is quite unique, and I'll tell you all about the sound here in a minute. This is a fully balanced R2R ladder DAC in a micro aerospace aluminum chassis, right? And it comes in black or silver, but I can't get over the price of $1,000. I've been listening to it for the last couple of weeks. So I remember when I received the original LAIV Harmony DAC, I did my review for that, and I focused a lot on the unboxing because I thought it was a product that paid very close attention to all the little details. That pride of ownership thing was high with the LAIV Harmony because it looks like LAIV took care in not only creating and designing and building that DAC, but in also creating and designing and building the packaging. The packaging of the LAIV Harmony was really, really cool. It made you feel like, hey, I spent this money, but you know what? It feels worth it to me. So fast forward, we're now in 2025. All kinds of HiFi products are being released what seems like every week. I have new stuff here all the time. I just received some parts for a brand new version of the Pure Audio Project Duet 15s. I have everything here to assemble them. I'm going to be doing that the rest of this week. Now, when this DAC was on its way to me, I didn't know what to think. I was like, well, $1,000. How are they going to cheap out on this DAC? Is it going to be in the build, in the parts quality, in the construction? Is it going to be an all-new design? What are they going to take away from this little DAC to bring it to the under $1,000 price point? Now, I admit, I have recently heard a DAC that a lot of people love, and it's around $9.99. You could buy it on Amazon Prime. I was going to review this DAC, I'm not going to say the name of it, and I didn't like it. And after a week, there was some static coming from the sound, so I returned it without review. So I didn't have crazy high hopes for the LAIV Harmony Micro DAC. But when it came, I saw the box. It was like deja vu. You know, I had this little box here. I'll show you right here. And I remember this quality box from the original Harmony. And so it arrived, I opened it up, and it wasn't quite the extensive setup as the original, but it was still a beautiful packaging job. You open it up, you see the Micro DAC, and you see a box with your power cable. This can be improved, I think, with a linear power supply, but I don't know by how much. There is some stuff, some filtering with the AC going into the Micro DAC, and Alvin from Vinshine Audio talks about this in detail in his video. You can see his video playing here, but I'll link to that full video in the description if you want to know details about the innards and how this thing was designed. So I turned off that Nagra HD DAC X that I've been listening to and have become accustomed to. I put the little tiny micro DAC on top, plugged in my cables, and turned it on. It was easy as that. And now there's a USB input in the back, there's a coaxial input on the back, and there's an I2 input as well, which is, as you know, an HDMI cable is used for that. Now, I prefer just going into the coax, and that's because I'm using a Nagra streamer, which is and has become my favorite streamer. I prefer it to the RS-130 by HiFi Rose strictly for its simplicity, its performance, and of course, the sound quality. Performance, I mean, there's no lag when skipping songs, and it plays everything up to DSD. A really, really simple streamer, but it only has two outputs. It has a Nagra link out, and it has a coax out. So I went with the coaxial out going into the LAIV Micro Harmony. Now, I will say I also tried a WIM Ultra going into it as a streamer, and I also tried an Ever Solo DMP A6 Mark II Master Edition. I'll touch on that here in a bit. But when I first put the micro DAC in, I wanted to see how much difference there was. And I'm still using the Nagra streamer, still using the Nagra Classic amp, still using the Nagra HD Pre, and I have several speakers here. My Pure Audio Project Duet 15s. I still have the Audio Icon 12s here. I still have the EPO Sound Red Millennium Black Oaks here. So I was able to hear this DAC with a variety of speakers. But the first impression going from a $71,000 DAC to a under $1,000 US DAC, it was quite a revelation, I should say. The micro Harmony from LAIV has a different sound than the Harmony in my system in my room. The micro is a little warmer, a little more full-bodied, and I'm liking that I'm seeing this in HiFi these days. It seems like years ago, I would hear a lot of lean, strident stuff, and these days, manufacturers seem to be warming up the sound of some of their pieces, and I can really dig that and get into it because it's with that little bit of warmth that brings the foundation of the music. It makes it more solidified, and that's always a good thing. So the micro DAC right off the bat was warmer than the Nagra, but it's also warmer from my very vivid memory of the Harmony DAC, the full size. I remember that being lit up and reminding me of the Chord Dave in the way it was presenting details, yet it was still, and still is, very musical, right? This one has a little bit more warmth. It's not as lit up in the treble, and the bass seems extraordinary. I was getting a little more bass heft from the micro DAC than the Nagra HD DAC X. Now, the Nagra should not be compared to this DAC, but again, I said, hey, I have it here, why not? Why wouldn't I compare it? The Nagra is more open and spatial, but it's not as big of a difference as a lot of people may think. The Nagra really would be best served in a full Nagra HD system. The micro DAC can pretty much be placed in any system. Here it was with a Nagra HD Pre, with a Nagra Classic amp, with a Nagra streamer, and it was sounding right at home. A little less detail retrieval and information than the Nagra, a little warmer and fuller, and a little bit more bass, which makes it a little warmer and fuller. But man, this is one heck of a musical DAC. I listened to it in the non-oversampling mode. I listened to it in the oversampling mode. And depending on the songs I played, really determined on which mode I liked best. I ended up settling and leaving it in the non-oversampling mode because I found that sounded the most pleasing and musical to me with most musical genres, but you are able to switch that on the fly with the menu system. Now, this one does not come with a remote control. LAIV makes that beautiful remote control. It's solid, it's metal. One of the coolest well-made remotes I've seen. That comes with the full-size Harmony, not the micro. So it will work with that remote, but you have to already have one or buy it separately. LAIV sells that remote separately. So here I was listening to all of my streams. I was listening to Tidal in high res. I was listening to Qobuz. and I was listening to Spotify. I pay for all 3 streaming services, and I enjoy all 3 quite a bit. I will admit I listen to Spotify the most, and a lot of people say, Spotify, that sounds like garbage, but it doesn't. If you have the right streamer and DAC, Spotify can sound just as good, and I'll argue a little bit better than even Tidal. I'm not a big believer in all the high-res music. I think CD quality is fine, but a lot of people love high-res, a lot of people love DSD. The Micro DAC I have here converts everything to DSD before being played. So there's different things that work here with various DACs. Now, the Micro Harmony DAC, it feels really good in the hand. It feels weighty because it does use aerospace aluminum for the chassis. It still has the gold knobs, which a lot of people didn't like the glaring gold color. Some people didn't mind it at all, and some people actually enjoyed it. I think that the gold brassy colors helps the DAC stand out a little bit from the crowd, but I do think more people would like it with a silver knob and silver buttons, but that is such a little thing to complain about. It's just a color, right? It's just the aesthetic. Now, the bottom of this DAC has 4 little feet, and they have little rubber grommets on them, so they're not going to scratch up anything you decide to set it on. So it comes with a wall wart type of plug here. The included power supply here, I'm not hearing any issues. I'm not hearing any noise at all. I'm not hearing any refinement issues. It sounds pretty refined. I can't believe how refined it sounds for a $1,000 DAC. And look at this one, A6 Mark II Master Edition from Eversolo, going into the Micro DAC, being powered by Orchard Audio GAN amps that are massively powerful if you need that power. This sounds beautiful in here. So this Harmony DAC, I was listening to all kinds of music. There's a new Alison Krauss and Union Station album coming out, and they had a couple new songs pre-released. Looks Like the End of the Road, Granite Mills. Sound really, really nice. And the Harmony Micro DAC added the meat to the bones for both of those songs. The guitar strums in Granite Mills. And these are not audiophile recordings, but this DAC made these sound really, really nice and full-bodied and energetic, though not to the level of the Harmony or the Nacra. This is a DAC that can play any kind of music, right? Moby came on with some dance music and remixes, and I thought the room was going to explode when the Icon 12s are in because I had it turned up so loud and it was just slamming music in this room. I had to rush in here and turn it down. So all in all, the LAIV Harmony Micro DAC sounds really, really beautiful. No matter the music, I played through it. It's really rather amazing for $1,000, under $1,000 US. This is a DAC that's available now. I think this is going to be one of the hottest DACs of 2025, just as the Harmony full size was one of the hottest DACs when it came out. I think they're going to sell a ton of these. I think people are going to get this DAC and say, wow, I don't know how much more of a DAC I need. There's no off-the-shelf DAC chip in here. This is all custom made by LAIV Audio, and they have a bunch of new products coming out. They have some GAN monoblocks coming out. They have their preamplifier headphone amp that's already out. They have a streamer they're working on that's coming out. I'm going to be getting the monoblocks and the headphone pre to use as a pre with the monos here pretty soon. So LAIV is doing some really, really amazing things in the realm of budget, what you get for the money. Instead of making gear and selling it for, trying to sell it for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, they're making this high-end gear and they're selling it for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, much more obtainable for music lovers all around the world. And LAIV is starting to become one of the coolest companies in my eyes for what you're getting for the money. And I gotta say, the LAIV Micro Harmony is a stunner. It sounds closer to what I've heard in $5,000 DACs. I don't know how they're gonna keep this little guy in stock but it's really, really a beautiful musical DAC that has body and life and meat on the bones. And it's not skimping in the detail, it's just not bringing forth as much detail as these mega exotic DACs do, right? It's not bringing as much of that energy in the upper treble sphere as the Harmony full size. That does a little more there. The Harmony full size might even be a little bit leaner in the mids, where this one's more about being fat, musical, punchy, full of life, right? So I give this DAC my highest recommendation. You're not going to find any DAC that's like it, even close to what this sells for. I've heard a lot of DACs in my life, and this one right here for the money has surprised me the most. I can't believe what you're getting for the money. But don't think it's like a DAC that is very good for $1,000. Think of this as a high-end sounding DAC, not exotic, but high-end for $1,000. And that's really all you need to know. If you're using RCAs and you don't have a balanced connection, you might want to look into some RCA XLR converters, or XLR to RCA converters, where you plug that XLR into the device and it turns it to an RCA output. I'll link to some of those on Amazon if I can find them. I know they exist. But this, again, is balanced. It has no single-ended outputs. So you're going to need XLR cables for this one unless you use adapters. But I think it just makes this DAC even better because it's silent in operation, 1000%. It's made from aluminum and metal. It handles all the formats you could ask for. It has the I-squared input, the coaxial input. It has a USB input. It's just a solid little all-around superb DAC. This is a DAC, you know, I remember when the Weiss 204 came out, and at that price point, I couldn't believe what it sounded like. A little metal box that had the Weiss sound, which is normally 10 grand in this little box. Well, this has a similar thing going on, except it's not $3,500, it's like $994. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about it. It's fantastic, it's beautiful, it sounds lovely, and it's well worth the cost and then some. So congratulations to LAIV. I know they're gonna sell the heck out of this DAC, and it's well deserved, well deserved. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys soon in the next one. Until then, be sure you thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment if you like. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.